This is my journal for my final project. I decided to make a documentary based on my cousin's cycling. I was deciding between a documentary on the football team I support, which is West Ham United, or this idea, although after thinking about the actual way I would arrange it, I felt the documentary about my cousin's cycling would be easier, just because it's easier to arrange and I won't have to worry about people pulling out for filming dates, as I've had that over this year quite a bit. So I feel this is a way of me definitely being able to have dates secured that I will be filming on, which also means that there won't be sudden appearances of different people who weren't originally supposed to be in the finished film. So compared to level 2 last year, I am finding it slightly more work and slightly more stressful, just because of mainly the idea I've chosen. Just because it's not an easy idea, because I'm filming in London for most of it, which means I've had to inquire about filming permits, and then I've had to inquire about lots of different things, such as whether what I'm doing is actually allowed and the ways I'm gonna be filming, whether I'm permitted to do that in London. So I emailed Lewisham, Greenwich, Newham and Bexley Council and got responses from all of them. I also contacted the Olympic Velodrome Association to get access to the Olympic Velodrome from the 2010 Olympics in Stratford. I haven't got a response from them yet, but they say they'll respond within 5 working days. So that means I won't be able to film there at the original time that I was going to get test shots. But the shots that I was going to test there, I already have planned how I'm going to do them, and I've already done that type of shot before. But the test shots would just be me solidifying how it would be, and me definitely proving to myself that I can do these shots. I also have contacted practitioners. I have had 3 respond. One is called Matt Slav. He responded with advice on how to make documentaries to do with narratives and how the narrative and the story of the person will push the documentary along, and how formal or informal it will be. I found this really useful, and I feel that if I can use elements of this in my documentary, it will make it will appeal to a wider audience, because this further adds to what I found in my secondary audience research, as a lot of the comments on the documentaries I saw were not people who were fans of cycling, but people who had watched it because it was a story about a particular person who they may have heard of from the TV, which then they had a discussion about. So I'm finding that the more I'm researching, the more I'm planning to make a documentary that people will be able to discuss about, so they can talk about what they got from it with other people who have watched the same documentary. And I will try and do this so that it's easy to follow, clear, with a clear story of the person, and so that there's still some bits that can be interpreted in different ways. The second practitioner I contacted is an editor from the BBC, a freelance editor who works with the BBC and has done more mainstream documentaries, such as the Educating series, like Educating the East End was one of them. He's a friend of a family friend, so it was easier to get in contact with him, and I found his advice is really helpful, and I'm going to be meeting with him next week, which is, well, I haven't got a specific date yet, but I'm probably going to be meeting with him next week. If not next week, then I'll probably just interview him through the phone about it and record that. His name is Gareth Hill. He's also known as G-Force Editing. He is probably my biggest inspiration in terms of editing, as I'm a big fan of his editing style, because I've watched a lot of the documentaries and a lot of the programs he's worked on, especially People Just Do Nothing, which is the most popular program he's worked on. I found that really good, how he cuts it all together and makes it seem natural. So I'll try and add a bit of that into my documentary so that it has that effect to it, so it's easy to watch. Now I'm gonna have to go and get my phone so I can read out the last person's name, or the last practitioner's name, because he is Nigerian and lives in Lagos, so I can't pronounce his name. Right, so this practitioner's name is Ianu Tolu Holuenwaju. I met him through a Facebook group for freelance editing, and he is at the moment emailing me with tips for documentaries, as well as looking through my blog so far and telling me how I could improve. I find this is really helpful because he knows what he's doing, and he owns his own media production company, so he can really come at it from all angles because he knows the industry inside out, especially in Nigeria. So this will add maybe a different culture aspect to it, so I can maybe get my documentary to appeal to people in a different culture to widen my audience, which I feel, if there's any way that I can widen my audience, it's better. And that's really all I did this week, and it's felt very long, and at times it's been quite stressful, but I feel a lot better now the process is starting, and I feel like I'm starting to make some progress and getting to the point where I'm happy with the amount I'm doing and with what I'm finding out.